Music theory with Microsoft Excel. Auto-transposable music system through all 12 collections of 7 notes, automatically rotatable to all 7 modal perspectives, changing the tonic upon rotation. Part number 12. So get ready and some coffee, because you ain't never seen rockin' unless you excel at rockin', for which Microsoft Excel, it is a requirement, not just a suggestion. This is a in Excel. If you don't have access to this workbook, that's okay, because we basically built this from a blank worksheet but started in a prior presentation. So if you want to build this entire worksheet from a blank sheet, you could begin back there, or just follow along building the part of the table that we're currently working on. If you do have access to this workbook, though, 4 tabs down below, including a very colorful fretboard tab we may refer to, the example tab, in essence the answer key, the practice tab having pre-formatted cells so you can practice the practice problem with less Excel formatting. But if you don't have any of that, that is okay, because we're going to be continuing to work on the blank tab, where we started from scratch with a blank worksheet, and we'll be continuing in essence in the blank part of the worksheet, practicing not only our music skills but Excel formatting skills as well, for formatting's sake. Let's go to the front of this worksheet to get a reminder of what we've done thus far, what our objective is, what we'll be doing now, and what we may be doing into the future. Our project to create a music system that we can jot down our ideas, our songs, our melodies in a way as efficient as possible. The theory working even if writing down with paper and pencil, so that we can automatically transpose the information to all 12 collections of 7 notes and automatically rotate it through all 7 modal perspectives, changing the tonic as we do. This being how I envision the modern day or next level DAW systems and MIDI systems should be, in essence, having 2 dials so that you can put your song in place and then rotate those 2 dials to then rotate them through the 12 collections of notes and modal perspectives, possibly rotating parts of more complex songs if your song is being assigned multiple different collections of notes or multiple different modal perspectives. Okay, so to do that, we have our MIDI numbering system on the left. We have our note numbering system. We have our human being numbering system, 1 through 12 notes. Here's our notes that line up to that. We then have the 7 notes out of the 12 collection, which we can use our Nashville numbers, a permanent numbering system, and an abbreviated Nashville numbers here, noting that we could extend this to all 12 notes, but visualize it from this 7-note perspective. That gives us the dial, the 2 sets that we can transpose on top of each other, and it allows us to rotate the modal points. So then we have our chords, remembering that our traditional format of the chords includes the note name, but we could be more specific and name the chord by relative position, like a Lydian chord or a Mixolydian chord. By doing so, again, it's transposable to all 12 collections of notes and allows us then to look at relative position, nodal points that make up the chords in a very specific way, again, giving us that dial that we can use for rotation automatically. Now, when we look at our collection of notes, we have all 12 collections of notes here going upwards up top, and instead of naming them 1 through 12, we're naming them from the relative perspective, 7 whole numbers, and the 0.5s being the 5 notes outside of the collection. So we still have all of the notes available to us as we write in any collection of 7 notes, but we're looking at them from a perspective that can be shifted in relation to the absolute mode position, giving us our dial. So then over here, we have our actual data input. We started inputting them from the perspective of the Ionian or major scale, remembering that you could enter it in, if it was a DAW system, from the perspective of any modal perspective, and you should be able to link them together just the way we're doing here. But we're going to look at it from the perspective of the Ionian, entering the information in a format that we don't actually assign notes to them. We don't even need to assign the collection of notes in order to do the data input. We could look at it this way, where we have the notes, but if we did it with no notes, or if we transposed the notes to this format, that then allows us to adjust it or transpose it to all 12 collections of 7 notes and possibly rotate it. So then we took this information, we converted it to an absolute numbering system with the DAW system, and then we put it into the DAW format. And this collection of notes is now showing the 12 notes that are being shown over here with just one row. And then we can break it out this way by letter or this way by Nashville number perspective. All of these perspectives in a modern DAW system or a modern MIDI system, I believe should be available to us if they were optimizing the DAW system. So I think this is where something like this idea is where it should go, meaning I should be able to write the information like this on one row in this format, not referring to any notes or referring to notes, and have the system write it in this format, and then be able to use the 2 dials to basically rotate it. So we rotated around the 12 collections of notes with this dial over here, just changing this to, like, let's say a 9. So now we're in the perspective of an F down here. These need to be adjusted. We'll talk about that later. And then go back to the 4. So that gives us our automatic transposition through all 12 collections of notes from the perspective of the Ionian node. But we also want to rotate them around from the nodal perspective, which is a little bit more tricky to do. But the concept would be, if we have the notes up here, so we're looking at this and we assign to the song that we wrote the song in an Ionian mode. That means the Ionian is the target or the modal point or the tonic. So that means that anything that has a chord that's from the perspective of the Ionian, then I rotate it to the Dorian when I go to the Dorian. If it was a Dorian chord, but I wrote the song from the perspective of the Ionian, we're going to rotate it up 1 from the Dorian to the Phrygian, and so on and so forth. And from the relative perspective of a Nashville number system, all the whole numbers can be rotated to the next whole number in the system. All the numbers that are in the ocean have a 0.5, can be rotatable, but if they land in the middle, if they land on a 4.5 or a 7.5, that's when we run into a problem. So we saw that, we ran that exercise out, and we rotated everything around automatically to the Dorian mode here, and then we did the same thing and rotated it around automatically to the Phrygian mode, and then we mapped out it to the DAW. So now we should have a system that I can enter this information into the Ionian, and then I can transpose it to any collection of notes I want, and then I can easily rotate through all of the modal perspectives that way. And if it was in a DAW system, we should be able to rotate that forward to all of these tables to be, to show all these basically tables. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go down to the next one, which will be the Phrygian, or the 1, 2, 3. We're on the 4, which is going to be the Lydian. All right, so I'm just going to copy this whole thing and see what we can do. I'm going to copy from here because I got these little stragglers down there. So I'm going to copy all the way across, and let's do this again. And we'll copy down, copy that, boom. And then we'll go over here and say, we'll paste that right there, 1 cell down, and everything should line up. Bam, and so, okay. So now we're on the Lydian. Now the thing is, I want to pull this in. This is going to be our major formula here. So let's look at that first. I'll make it red so I can identify it. I'll make this red so I can identify where we are working. And I'll make this red so I can identify where we're working. And then I'm going to say this is coming from, notice that these things are in the data tab up top if you don't have them shown in the quick toolbar. No, they're in the formulas tab, and then formula editing right there. So that's showing where it's coming from. So if I go up, I can see that it is coming from the Dorian node. Now I don't actually want it to come from the Dorian node. I want it to come from, once again, all the way up here in the Ionian node. So anything that's in the Dorian needs to go to BU10, and this is, what is this? BU77. So let's go down here and say, how long is this formula? Double click. So everything that's BU71 should go to BU10. So I could probably just fix it. But let's do it this way. Let's copy this, BU71, enter. Put my cursor here. I'm holding down Control to select 2 cells to make sure it doesn't go outside of the find and replace that I want to find and replace. Home tab, find, and I want to replace. I want to find that right there, and I want to replace it with what do I want to replace it with? BU10. BU10. I think that should do it. And so we'll say, okay, replace all. It replaced 8 of them. I think that's good. So let's go, okay, cool. Let's see if that fixes our thing. Close it up. We're down here in the red area. And then I'm going to say, where's this coming from now? Where you coming from now? All right. And that looks right now. So now it's coming from there. That looks good. Muy bien. So that is coming from there and there. Is it referring to these cells over here at all? I thought it was. No, nothing over there. Okay. So I think that's good. So now let's make this. So now the next thing I need to do, it started on the Ionian node. So the Ionian needs to be going up. We're on, what are we on now? We're not on the Phrygian. We're on the Lydian. I need to retype this. Lydian. Lydian. Hopefully I spelled it right. If I didn't, I apologize. But you get the idea. So it's Lydian. So that's going to be one more up. So if I'm on the Ionian, which is the 1, I need to go up to the 4. So it needs to, if I'm thinking of it as a dial from the Ionian, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going up 3 notches from the Ionian node to get from 1 to 4, to get from Ionian to Phrygian. So in this formula, what do we have here? I don't like that it's red, like when I go into the formula. Let's make it back to orange. So when I go in the formula, it looks better. So if I go in here, so we said it's going to be this plus 2. So I don't want to say it's plus 2 now. I want it to be plus 3. So everything is going to be the Ionian node plus 3. Now, if it happens, now this is referring to over here, if it was these relative numbers. If it's a 3, if it ends up being a 3.5, then I still have a problem. I want it to be a 4. So I can leave that the same. And then this is going to be a 2 plus 3. And so if it ends up being a 7.5, then we have a problem. And then if that happens, it's going to be this plus 3. If that plus 3 is less than 8, then it's going to be a problem. So what do we want to do? If it's less than 8, we're going to keep it at that plus 3. If not, that plus 3 minus 7. So we just changed them all to a 3. And then the left, this is going to be the left 2. So we don't need to change that to offset to the right. And then this is the offset that's changing this dial. So it was shifting up 2. Now we want to shift up 3. From the Ionian plus 3, which gets us to the 4, which is the Locrian. So let's go, boom, let's see if that does it. So that, not the Locrian, the Lydian. So there it is. So it's an NY3 now instead of a N3 Ionian. So instead of that last letter is now a Y instead of an I. And so we just shifted from the Ionian up to the Lydian. Now the Lydian's a major mode, so a triad still has a major third. So that's going to be it. But even if I changed it to an Aeolian, then it would be, then we'd do the same thing. We'd snap it into place. Now let's copy that across. If I copy that across, let's see what happens over here. So I think these are correct, right? So Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, those changed. This one goes from 4 to 4.5. 4.5 is a problem because there is no 4.5. So let's double click on that and say, okay, what happened there? So if that plus that, no, there is a 4.5. There's just not a 3.5. So we have 4.5, we have a 5, we have a 5.5, 6, 7, and then it goes to 1, and then a 1, I think that's correct, and then a 1.5, a 2, a 3, and then a 3. So we haven't gotten up to the point where it's going to end up with a 3.5 over here, as I think we'll end up with next time. So I think that's all correct. So let's go ahead and copy that formula up here. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to put it up here, paste formulas only, put it up here, paste formulas only, put it down here, paste formulas only, put it down here, paste formulas only. Okay, so that's cool. And then, so let's go down here before I fix the MIDI thing. So now it needs to be not a 4 that we need now. So what does it need to be? If it needs to be we're going up to the Lydian, which is the 4th, and the 4th is 5, it's a 5 note away, right? So it's going to be equal to, I'm going to go all the way up to this one, that number, whatever we choose it to be, that's the key, plus 5 should get us to the F, which is Lydian. This is doing an X lookup, which is an F. And so if I change that 4 up top, it'll change the relative Lydian note automatically. And this is equaling 4, which is correct. That's taking that 3 plus 4, meaning it's the 4 Nashville number for the Lydian node. All right, so I think that is correct. Now these are, now this is taking that, and where else is this coming from? Let's do it this way. It's taking that, and then it's also referring to these cells. These cells need to be brought down to here, and then I need to adjust the numbering system over here possibly. So let's do that. I'm going to double click on this. Well, let's get rid of these first. Double click on this, and I need to bring these 2 down. So I'm just going to grab it. I can just pull it down. Down to here, I think. And then this one, we'll just grab it and pull it down to here. Okay, and enter. So then I can copy that across. Copy that across. Okay, so now we got to check. Now something's wrong with this one here. Seems it's like something funny happened. But let me first look over here and look at my numbering system. So this is an F. That's now pulling from here. I think that's correct. And then this is 65 now, which is looking up that F. That's correct because this is still 60. So I think that system, that's working. Okay, wait a sec. What did I do here? And then, okay. And then this is a 9 from a numbering system, and that makes sense because the F is a 9 from an absolute note numbering system, and then the F is the 4, and that makes sense because the F is the 4. But where's this coming from? This is coming from, where's this 4 coming from? That 4. And where's this 4 coming from? It's coming from here. So I need to renumber everything up to here because I hard coded these. So from the 4, it goes from the 4 to the 5, and then it goes 5.5, and then it goes to 6, and then 6.5, and then 7, and then it starts over again at 8 right here. Right? It starts over 6.5, 7, and then 8. So then going down below it, I'm going to go down below it 4, it goes down to 3, and then it goes down to 2.5, 2, and then 1. Right? So 1. So there should be 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right. So it goes whole step. It goes from 1, wait a sec, it should go 1 to 1.5. So 4, 3, 2.52, and then it goes from 2 down to 1.5, and then 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It should go whole step to 2, whole step to 3, half step to 4, and then it should go 4, this is wrong, this should be 4.5, 5, and then 5.5, 6, and then 6.5, 7, and then this is going to be 8. Okay. So now going up from there, that's where it's going to start over. So now this is just going to be equal to the 1 down below, and I can just copy that up. That's the local distance. Copy that all the way up here. Paste formulas, and then if I go down here, this is equaling that 7, and I think that's correct going down this way. So that looks correct going down this way. So I think that's right. And then the absolute numbers are the same. Except they're going to keep on going up. So when it gets to 1 here, then it goes to 8. Now that 8, this thing, I hate when this thing's, something's wrong with that 8. So it should be that 1.5. So this goes down to 4, 3, 2, that's right. All of this is correct. Where's this coming from? Yeah, that's right. Boom, 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 boom. But then this one needs to be equal to that. And that's right. And then this one needs to be not there but here. Boom. So now 7 plus 7. So 0 plus 7. And then this is going to be, and then I can copy that up. Copy this, paste it up, paste it, formulas only. So now it goes, these are the same, and then 8, and then up to there. I think that's right. And then down here, it goes to 1, and then this is going to be that 7 minus 1, and that's right. Why is it right down here and wasn't up there? I feel like I'm off by 1 or something, but I think it's right. So let's keep it there. Let's keep it rolling. I think that's right. So now all I've done is shifted this middle bit. Now remember, so that's the idea. Okay, so now the problem over here is this one's a problem because it's pulling from well, now it's pulling from the wrong place. So let's fix this and say, okay, where's this coming from? Let's say, okay, where's that coming from? Double click. Zoom. It's pulling from up here. Now that cell, which is BU 149, needs to be down here to BU 210. So let's do that. So I'm just going to copy it down. BU 149 is a mixed reference. So I'll copy that, enter, and then I'll put my cursor here and here and go and see if I can replace that. So I want to find that, and then I want to replace it with, what did I say? I want to replace it with 210. 210. Boom, boom, boom. All right, replace all. Bam. Okay. Let's see if that does the trick. Let's copy that. I'm going to paste it to all the cells. And we'll paste it. Formulas only. All right. So I feel like that fixed one problem. But now something's still wrong with this, and I think it's because now it's pulling, like this one, I could see why this is still a problem, because this is pulling from this one. Let's make that, can I make it, let's make it yellow, because I don't like red, because when I click on it, it looks funny, because the formula doesn't stand out. So let's say, so now what I need to do on that, because that's the Phrygian, so now when I look at these numbers, the 4 should be the lowest one. So that means that if I was playing by relative position in this section, this 4 should be lower in pitch than this 1, because although it's the same note, this one should be an octave up when I do the rotation. And so that means, but this chord is pulling in problematically, because the Phrygian is the 2, and so the 2 is coming at a lower. So how will I fix that? Well, then I'm going to go up here and say that we should be able to go over here, like we did with the Ionian chord, which was a problem, was a 1. We shifted it up to an 8 from a Nashville number system. So this is the Ionian C major, or Ionian just major chord by nodal point. And then we did that as well for the Dorian. We did that, for the Dorian here. And so now I would think we need to do it for the Phrygian, right? The Phrygian needs to be adjusted because now we're on the Lydian. So I need to push this out. So it needs to be 7 plus 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's go ahead and add some cells and see if that fixes that problem. So I'm going to right click and insert. Let's make this a little bit larger. And then I'll copy these bad doggies. Let's go from this one to the skinny. So I can copy and paste the skinny, paste it over here, boom, delete this stuff, don't need that no more, right click and delete. All right, so this one's still good with an 8 and down. This one has a 9, that looks right, but this one needs to be equal to 3 plus 7, or 10. So now I've adjusted this one. So let's just make that one yellow. So these have been adjusted to an octave up for this particular mode. And so now I'm going to go over here and say, okay, we have done that. So now if I go over here, that looks like it's solved that problem, because that one's not down here anymore. No, it's in the Ionian. You're in the wrong spot. You spoke too soon. Okay, so this one's okay. I have to, okay, right. I haven't fixed it yet. Double click, and then I go over here. You can't just, you have to connect it before it fixes it. And then I'm going to pull this one to this section. So I just pull all the references over one at a time, nice and color coded and visualized. It's a nice visual thing. You just pull these over to the place they need to be, because they're in the wrong place right now. Enter. All right, now I'm going to copy this over, and it's going to solve that problem, hopefully. So let's copy this to the whole thing. All right, and then paste, and we want to paste formulas. Okay. So then I think it worked down here. Now the thing that's throwing me off is, like, why is this reaching all the way up here? That shouldn't be happening. It's not happening on this one. So what's going on? I feel like I messed up my numbering system somehow up here, because something is wrong. This middle one needs to be the absolute numbering system. So what did I do on here? Something's messed up. It's not the formula, it's the numbering system, right?
So this was there. I pulled this is coming from there. And then this is going up, but something's happening here. That plus 7. That's wrong. So how did that happen? That plus 7. That plus 7. Now, I feel like... How did that happen? This shouldn't be that plus 7. It should be... Does that work to do that plus 7? No. I thought I was trying to do this plus 7. Alright, now let's copy that up. And then paste formulas only. Alright, that looks better. That at least looks appropriate, right? That kind of mirrors what we had up here. So hopefully I've got that correct. I think that's it. We're going to go with that. So now we have this one, and so now we mapped out this way. We can see it by notes, and the notes start on the F and they go up from there. So this is showing this whole bit is mapped out by that one row, and then we go up from that row, and then this is the Nashville number system from a local numbering system, a local Nashville number system. All right, I think that is correct, right? Is this, no, I just need to copy these down. So I'm only mapping out this middle row, but the same concept applies if I was gonna map up the octave up and the octave down. So I'll just copy this here, and I should come up with the same numbers. Did I already do this? I think I already did this, right? Because it looks like, yeah, I must have already. Well, maybe not. I'll just do it again. This doesn't hurt. Boom. Right click, paste formulas only. And I don't know, do we have time to do one more? Let's try to do one more. I'll try to do this next one quick. So now let's do from the Lydian to the Mixolydian. Mixolydian. So I'll copy this. We'll do it 2 at a time. Getting crazy. Watch out. You better watch yourself. Better get yourself a wristwatch. Why? Because you need to watch yourself. You need to know what time it is. Alright. Let's do this. This is going to be Mixolydian. Mixolydian. I probably totally spelled that wrong. I could spell check it. Just spell check it. Best buy yourself a watch. Why? Because you need to watch yourself. You need to know what time it is. It's time for a reckoning. It's time for a reckoning. Okay. Need to know what time it is. Let's make this black again. Okay. And then we'll make this black. Alright. Okay. Mixolydian. Mixolydian. Let's make these red down here too. Alright. Not that. Alright. Alright. So this is going to be Mixolydian. A Mixolydian compared to the Ionian is going to be 10 notes away. Is from the Ionian, we're going to the 5. It's 7 notes away. So I'm going to say this is going to be equal to, up top, this 4 plus 7. So whatever that 4 becomes, this should be. No, by the way, I also need to change this formula to be like, okay, it can't go over 12. So I have to go, let's do this, say this, it should be if tab, this plus this, copy, is less than 12, then do that plus that, but if not, do that plus that minus 12. Boom. Oh, I have 2 equal signs. Okay, and 11, and that's fine. That looks good. And then this is 5 Mixolydian. I need to do that up here too. So this one, I need to just put the if logic. If that plus that, copy, is less than 12, then do that plus that. But if not, do that plus that minus 12. Close it up. Bam. Still at a 9 and an F. All right. So now let's see what we have here. So now this is pulling from the wrong cell again because it's going to be pulling from Dorian. So if I trace this out, it's going to be pulling from, oh, wait a second, I'm on the wrong one. This one is going to be pulling from the Dorian because I copied it when it was on the Ionian and then it moved down to Dorian. So I need to move this 71, this CB71 up. So let's do that again. So I'll just go in here and say, all right, let's just do that the easy way. Double click, find the CB71, copy, enter. Here, hold down Control and select another one. Home tab, we're going to go to replace, find and replace. Replace, and we want to find that and then replace it with the number needs to now be this one, 10. A 10. Bam. Find, replace all of those. Found 8. Good. MUI B to the N. BN, how you being? I'm MUI BN. Now wait a second. So okay. So now that's right. So it changed it to the Lydian. That's what it was before. Now we need to turn the dial from, if I'm on Ionian, I want to get to the 5. I want to go from the 1 to the 5. Ionian is 1. I need to go up 4 to get to the 5. So I need to rotate the dial 4 to get from 1 to 5. So it says it was 3. So now I'm going to change it up to 4. So if it's going to be a 3.5, then change it to 4. Then it's going to be that plus 4. If it equals 7.5, then make it a 1. That stays the same. If it's that plus 4 and it's less than 8, then do that plus 4. So that's good because it's under 8. But if it's that plus 4, if it's over that, then you have to subtract 7 from it. That too is okay because that's referring to that's the left side that we're looking at. The offset, however, is offsetting not 3 anymore, but you're starting on the Ionian and offsetting down 4, which will get you to the 5 point, which is 4 up, which is the Mixolydian. All right, enter, and let's copy that across and see if that makes sense. Now I think, so that makes sense. So this is Mixolydian, and these got all shifted. That looks proper. And then let's look at these. So we got a 5. That looks correct because it was an Ionian, and then it went to the 5. 1 to 5. 5.5 is okay. 6 is okay. 6.5. 7's okay. 1's okay. 1.5 is okay. 2 is okay. 2.5 is okay. But we ended up with this 3.5. That's a problem. And that happened because now we went around the horn. So the problem is if I go into this one, see, this last if then said if it's less than 8, but then if it's less than 8, but if it's greater than 8, just subtract 7. But now there's a problem because sometimes if I subtract 7, I'm still going to hit this issue of it being 3.5, which isn't a thing. It has to be pushed up to 4 then, right? So it's like, oh man. So let's go into here and say, okay, how can I fix that? So now we're going to say this. So we're going to say over here, if it's less than 8, then we can just do that, C plus 4. But otherwise, if it's greater, I can't just do this. I need to embed another if then clause, which is going to be if tab, I can copy this again. So I'm going to say copy this again. So if this plus 4, let's do it here. If this plus 4 equals 3.5, then I want you to push it up to a 4. So if let's do that one more time. 3 minus 7. If that plus 4 minus 7 is 3.5, then I want you to make it a 4, right? And then if not, then what do I want you to do? I want you to just take the CS 10 plus 4 minus 7. So we've added another if clause in there saying if you do that, so let's read it out again. So it says, when I get to this if the Ionian plus 4 is less than 8, then do the Ionian plus the 4. That would be fine. But if not, I need another if to say if the Ionian plus 4 minus 7 equals 3.5, then that would be the problem one, right? Then we want you to give us a 4. But if not, then you're going to take the 3 plus 4 minus 7. So that takes care of the one problem area if it goes above the octave, but it still lands on the 3.5, which isn't in. Otherwise, you just subtract 7 to bring it down within the local distance. Okay, did that work? Okay, I had to add one more quote, so there's three ends quotes here to make that work. All right, so let me copy that across and see if that makes sense. I'll copy it this way and see if it messes anything else up. So I think that works. Okay. So that works, I believe. And so then if I go down here, we can say, and then I can copy that to the other one. So let's take this and copy that and put it up here. Paste formulas, paste formulas, paste formulas, paste formulas. And then down here, where's this coming from? Well, now it's still coming from these columns that are up here now. So I got to bring those columns down again. So I'm going to put my cursor here, remove that, double click, and I'll just pull those columns down. Pull down the 2 columns. The 2 towers need to fall down to here, or at least they need to be pulled down to the proper place. Okay, and so we'll pull this tower down. Okay, the twin towers. All right, we have rebuilt the twin towers in a new location. We're going to copy that across. All right. Boom. Okay, and now we need to fix the numbering system. That G looks correct. 67 looks correct, I believe, because there's the 60 for the C. And then I think this local numbering system, I think, is correct because the A is the 1. So the thing that's a little wonky is, like, why is this 0? I'm a little... but that's going in the negative direction. I'm a little like, why is that happening? But let me not think about that right now because I want to do this first. So if it's a 5, this is coming from that 5, and I have to just fix it going up this way. So if that's going to be the 5, because we're on the G, that's right. So 5 and then 4.5. No, this should be 5 to 6 to 7. No, 5, 5.5, and then 6, and 6.5, and then 7, and then this is going to go to 8. And then going down, it goes 5 to 4.5 to 4 to 3, because there's no 3.5, to 2.5 to 2 to 1.5 to 1. Okay, and then this is going to be that 7. Now this equals that 7, and then yeah, and then going up. So I think that's right. That equals that 7, and then if I go up this way, this should be equal to this 1 right here, boom, and then I can copy that up, choom. I think that works. Paste the formulas, and then over here, the middle bit, if I go from 1 up, needs to be the same. So this equals the 1. I'm going to copy the 1 to the 7 and paste formulas. And then here is now taking, it's doing that again. Why is it doing that? This is taking this 1 plus 7. Boom. And I copy that and I bring it up and paste formulas. So I think that's correct. I'm still, so yeah, I think that's right. So if I look over here then, this needs to be adjusted because now this is taking into account this one. I need to bring that CB210 down to 271. Okay, so that's easy. I can just go boom. Let's double click on it. Let's find one. What was it? BC was it? 210? Yeah, BC 210. Mixed reference. Let's copy that. Copy, enter, put my cursor here and somewhere else, holding down control, find and replace. We're going to say let's replace it. I want to find that and replace it with that, but changing this number to 271. 271, boom. Wait, 271. Replace all of those. Done. 9 replaced. Copy that. Paste it all the way across. And let's see where we at. Copy that to see where we at. Alright, paste it. Boom. Alright, now we still have this one as a problem. And that is in part because that is referring to this. Let's make that one yellow this time. And that's the Lydian. So now I got to go over here and fix this thing again. So now we're on the Lydian. So I need to fix all these because now this one, which one is it now? So now I'm on the 5. So that means the 4, this Lydian needs to be up an octave. So let's do this whole thing again. I'll just say insert and make those a little larger. Un poquito más grande. Copy these plus the skinny, paste it, get rid of this added thing, no longer needed. Boom. This needs to be equal to 4 plus 7. Bam. Gonna select all these holding down control to make it yeller, to say we have now replaced that one. And then I'm just gonna adjust my formula over here. So we're down with the red. I'm looking for the red on the left. The red on the left, there it is, Mixolid. Mixolid. Double click. And then I'm gonna go over here and pull over the formulae in a nice visually pleasing way for the chords. So these need to be over here. These need to be over here for the Mixolid. Mixolid chords into the proper location. Just pull those bad doggies over. It's a dog whistle. There's no such, due to the fact that dogs' tongues are so large they can't fit them behind their teeth without making them into like a xylophone tongue. There's no such thing as a dog whistle. Dogs don't whistle. They whimper, possibly. I don't even think they'd whistle if they wanted to because it hurts their ears. There's no such thing as a dog whistle. Okay. Let's say then, all right. So I think that's good. So it looks good, right? It looks about the similar format, not exactly the same because we're rotating the perspective, starting this time on the G, going over here and we've got our letters. That looks good. We've got our relative positions. Everything's mapping out the way it should, I believe, I think, I hope, I pray. Let's go ahead and copy these up. Copy, and then put that here. Ba-bam. 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 And okay. So now we've got it. So we've got now I need to go to the last one. I'm on 5, 6, 7, and then after we do those, I need to fix this bit, and then I need to fix these formulas here, which will adjust this column, which will fix that bit. So, but hopefully, obviously, the idea is now pretty apparent, right? So I can change this to like a D, a 6, and then now I have the Ionian, and then all of the Dorian will give us the relative Dorian to the D, which is now going to be an E Dorian, right? And then we've got the F sharp Phrygian, and then we've got the G down here, Lydian, right? That's right. And then the Mixolydian is an A Mixolydian, right? So now I can rotate that. So let's go up top. So that's pretty. I feel like a DAW should be able to do that. By the way, you might say, well, what if half the song is in something other than a different modal perspective or a different collection of notes? Well, I feel like you should be able to assign any part of the song you want a modal perspective, right? I should be able to say, hey, look, this part of the song is the collection of notes that I want to look at it from the perspective of a C major, and the Ionian is the tonic. But maybe this collection of notes, maybe I want to look at it from the D major, and or the D is the tonic, right? Or the collection of notes of the D, or something like that, right? I should be able to assign the perspective that I'm looking at it, and then rotate each section, either transposing each section of the song that I have from a different perspective, or rotate them through the modal perspective. You see how that would be so much, you can tinker with the song that way, in a way that would be musically coherent to do that, which would be particularly good for people that don't know music theory, as well as those that do, right? Complex jazz people could map out parts of the song that they're visualizing from different modal perspectives or different collections of notes, and then mix and match them, because you can just rotate the relative perspective to all the different collections, right? You can easily tinker that way.